Hi, everybody. My name is Leslie Pyle, and I'm the founder of HireMyMom.com. Excited to have Ashley Kirkwood with me today to tell us a little bit more about the legal field and what she does for entrepreneurs. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Definitely. So I run Mobile General Counsel, which is a law and consulting firm for small to large businesses. For the smaller businesses, we handle their general business and legal needs. So contracting, trademarks, contracts, and copyrights are typically the areas in which we serve them. And we serve businesses on a flat fee model. So some folks have heard of the hourly rate that lawyers have. And so I'm so scared that I hire a lawyer and then I get a big bill. You always know what your bill will be with us. So it's flat rate, predictable, and you don't have to worry, if you call me, I'm clicking a timer and billing you for every second of the call. So that is not how we work. And we've helped over 100 businesses bulletproof their brands in the last year. So we work with quite a few businesses. We have a team that helps out. And I love what I do on that side of it. And then for larger companies, I do diversity and compliance consulting and really communications consulting using the love method of communication, which we developed to help companies improve their culture. So that is what Mobile General Counsel is and what I do. And I have so much fun with my job. And I'm also a mom. So my baby's 2 months old. So I'm a recent mom and a new mom. And working all of that into serving clients has, it's really forced me to hire more people and to hire them for longer hours. So that's why I use HireMyMom.com.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome to hear. That's how a lot of us end up transitioning to the remote world or doing these sorts of things because of the family and the demands of trying to do it all and do it all well. So,
Exactly.
Remote team, it's been just a huge blessing for me. And then one of the reasons I started Hire My Mom to help other people find those remote team members. So tell us what prompted you to start your law firm for entrepreneurs versus the corporate law work that you did.
Absolutely. So I was working at a very large firm. I went to Northwestern Law in Chicago. I'm double Big Ten. So I went to University of Illinois undergrad, Northwestern Law for law school. And I love, big state universities or private institutions that are just a little bit larger. That's my jam. Went to Northwestern, graduated, top of my class, got my dream job at Kirkland and Ellis, a large law firm that's based in Chicago, but they have offices worldwide. And things are going great. And then I negotiated a close to $100,000 raise to go to another firm and had to take it. The money was on the table. I thought it would be a great experience. But when I got there, I missed some of the luxuries of having assistance and help and really being able to have some semblance of balance that I had at my first firm. I worked a ton of hours, but you could work remotely a little bit and you had more flexibility on the type of clients you worked for, and the partners I worked for were, of course, great. So when I got there, I just wasn't happy and I didn't have any help. I barely had a paralegal or an assistant to help me with my legal affairs. And I was in my office one day and I was representing smaller clients at that point because it was a smaller firm. And I'm like, well, if I'm not going to have help here and I'm already representing, businesses that can't afford to have a full-time lawyer, I could do this on my own. I have a sales background. I have no problem asking for business. I love sales. I'm one of those weird folks who doesn't mind picking up the phone or sending out the email. And so I was like, yep, I can do it on my own. And if I work for myself, I'm definitely going to hire myself great help. So I hired very early, and I was probably a month in and I was already hiring contractors and folks to help me run the business. And I have not looked back. I don't know if I don't foresee myself ever going back. I absolutely love it. But I just was at a place where it was like, I'm already doing a lot of work. I'm working a ton of hours and I'm not building equity. I wasn't a partner at the firm at the time. And you can have partnership, but it was 3 or 4 years out at that point probably. And it just wasn't really, I just wasn't happy. So I was making 300 grand. I was well under 30 and I'm just like, oh, well, I could take a risk. I didn't have a baby at the time.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take it now because, the way they get you, they keep giving you that salary. And there's going to be a point where you're just like, I'm not leaving this money on the table. So I didn't want to keep making that type of money and getting raises and bonuses. I was like, if I'm going to jump, I need to jump now so that if I don't like it, I can always go back. So I left and started Mobile General Counsel. And I wanted to do law differently. I wanted to do law fun, approachably, and I wanted to put my personality into my practice. And that was something you really couldn't do on the more formal corporate side of things. You signed your life away. You couldn't make certain comments. You couldn't advertise in a certain way. And I just wanted it to be a lot more personable, fun, approachable, and diverse. And that is what we're able to do at Mobile General Counsel.
And I would say you've achieved that, because before we started recording, I was telling you how much I love your photos, because when you just glance at your photo, you don't think attorney, you think, oh, I could talk to her. She looks approachable. You don't look scary. Some attorneys you're intimidated by because they look their suits and everything's so fancy, but you look so approachable. So you're doing a good job of that, getting that marketing message across.
Thank you. Yeah, and legal doesn't have to be complicated. Every lawyer started as a law student and learned it like anyone else. And if you're great at what you do, even if it is highly specialized, you can communicate it in a way that everyone can understand it. And for us, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also a business owner. And that means that I can speak the language of my clients. They want their money protected. They want to make sure that they're not working, doing well one day, and they get a cease and desist out of nowhere, and they're terrified. No one wants their business interrupted by a legal faux pas, and no one wants to, hire someone and then they talk with all this fancy jargon, but they don't understand it at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. So what's the biggest mistake you see business owners make on the legal side of their business?
Not getting their trademark and thinking having an LLC protects them in some way. Mm-hmm. Having an LLC or being incorporated does not protect someone from stealing your business name. What it does is it protects your business assets, meaning if you were to be sued, someone couldn't necessarily take your personal home if you set it up correctly and you utilize your business accounts only for business, and there's some separation there. Mm-hmm. But what happens more often than not, I see business owners getting cease and desist letters because they're infringing on someone else's trademark, or they're sending cease and desist letters because someone is infringing on their trademark. I see that far more than a business just doing their business with integrity and they're being sued left and right. Small businesses, the probability of you getting sued is there, and it's definitely something to consider, but the probability of you infringing on someone else's business if you do business online or them infringing on yours it's much higher. Mm-hmm. I've had my brand infringed upon. I'm in the middle. I had to sue someone else because they were utilizing a brand that I built. So, it's happened to me in the first 2 years of business. And so it's happened to a lot of my clients within the first, I've had companies as young as 3 months, and some companies who've been in business 20 years, never had a trademark. We start working on their trademark application and they realize, oh my goodness, I've been infringing on someone else's brand, and they don't realize that could mean that you owe that other person money out of your business account. So that's what you don't want to happen. So you want to get your stuff trademarked, and people think, well, I've been doing business and no one sued me thus far. Yeah, but at the point that they do, if you've been infringing for the past 3 years, they're going to look at your financial records for that period and figure out what money they're owed. So you're not getting away with anything. They have the right to come after you as soon as they learn about it.
Wow. That's good to know. Yeah, absolutely. So do you have any advice for business owners who are trying to get work done, but they're on a budget?
Yeah, I do. So one of the things that we've implemented is DIY legal courses. And you can we have a class called Get the Tea on Trademarks at ashleynicolekirkwood.com/TONTM, TEAONTM. And you can take the class and kind of learn how to file your own trademark, which is one way to go. Now, the best option is always going to be to hire an attorney. And that starts, for us, it's a flat fee of $22.50 for one trademark application as of the date of this recording. However, if you can't do that, doing it yourself with guidance is the next best step. So taking a class, learning about the process, giving yourself the best position to get it approved. After that is just doing it on your own with no guidance. But all three of those is better than doing nothing. That is the worst thing you can do. So you want to choose one of the three options. But if you're someone who's like, I'm not going to learn all the legal jargon, you should hire a lawyer, because people take it for granted, but you're submitting a federal application. You do not want to lie on a federal application. You have to actually testify that you are not lying on the federal application before you submit it. So you don't want to get yourself in that position if you can avoid it. So work with a lawyer, get your trademark done. And the great thing is trademarks can last forever. It's one of the only things that can last forever. And even after you initially file with the federal government, it lasts 5 years. Unlike your LLC and INC that you have to renew, you have to file paperwork to keep that intact every year. This is a every 5-year thing. And then after the 5-year mark, the first 5 years, you just do it again in 10 years. So it's not something that you're constantly working on. It's an investment the first time, but then
Right.
you can just do maintenance filings and you can keep it for as long as you're using that name.
Wow. But there's a lot of people that didn't know that. I didn't know that. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
So at what point should a business owner bring a business lawyer on board?
Well, there's two things. There's bringing them on board consistently. And I think when your business is making over $500,000, or that would be, for me, if you're making over $500,000, even if you're doing $200,000 and growing, like you're constantly scaling,
Mm-hmm.
you should consider having a lawyer on retainer or doing what we have, which is like a legal subscription package. And that means you pay $5,000 a month and get a certain amount of legal work done every single month. And you have access to just calling us through a direct line versus booking a consult each time. And the benefit of that is you're able to say, okay, this is what my business is working on this month. We're launching a new online challenge. We're launching a new marketing campaign. Can you go through, make sure all our disclaimers are correctly so our Facebook ads don't get shut down? Can you ensure that we're, collecting emails properly based on this landing page? Is this legal? We have new brands that we're launching, because one business can own like 10 trademarks. So I personally own 5 trademarks right now and counting. Like we're filing new ones every quarter because we develop new taglines, new branding ideas, new online class names, new program names, new product names. All of those need individual trademarks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're someone who's constantly creating and thus your revenue is constantly increasing, you may not want to just be doing one-off things with the lawyer. You may want to bring someone on board. But if you're starting out and you know for sure, this is a business I'm building to last, you're not playing with it. It's not just, a non-income generating side hustle. It's an income generating business, whether you do it full-time or part-time. You at least want to get all of your legal paperwork done. So file your LLC, file your INC, and get a operating agreement drafted, which tells people what happens if you were to unfortunately pass on, or how you can invite other people to join the business, or in the event of a partnership, what division of the responsibilities does each person have? People file their LLC, but they never get an operating agreement drafted. So something happens to them, or someone wants to buy the business, or they're up for any number of the business grants that's been going around due to COVID, and they don't have the proper document to submit. You want to have your operating agreement and you want to get your trademark. And I'd start with the name of the business. Whatever people know you by, if they were to refer you and they were to say, hey, I'm going to refer you to Ashley, she works with Mobile General Counsel, or she owns Mobile General Counsel, that name, Mobile General Counsel, needs to be trademarked. So that's really, really, really important. Now, if you're a product business, your product line, you want to get those individual names trademarked in addition to the company name. Or if you're a course creator, the things that bring you money, the name of those things is important to you, and you want to have those things trademarked.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what does it mean for your firm operates on a flat fee? When people are choosing a lawyer, what should they look for?
So one, you want to make sure you like the person. This is like simple.
Yeah.
You want to like the lawyer that you're working with, because you need to be able to trust them, that they have your best interest in heart. And two, you want to make sure you're working with someone that has a law degree and a proven track record. So recently I had a client come to me, or a potential client come to me and say, hey, I was doing business with someone who wasn't an attorney and I didn't know it. I just found out. I think she submitted some things wrong on my behalf. Sure enough, she had. We had to go through and fix a lot of the legal work that was done. It's rare that someone will lie about being a lawyer, but it does happen. So you want to make sure they're actually barred. You can ask for their attorney registration number, or a letter of good standing that just will have a date on it, and it'll say, hey, Ashley's in good standing of the Illinois bar. Cool. If you need work done like that is state specific, you want to make sure you have a lawyer that's barred in your particular state. But for things like trademarks, it happens at the federal level. So I take trademark clients nationwide, and that's because it's a federal thing. Copyright, it happens at the federal level. If you file for a federal registration, which I recommend, then that all happens at the federal level. So we have clients nationwide. If you're getting a contract template, that is something that maybe you can buy from a lawyer. It doesn't really matter, where the lawyer necessarily lives. It's a template, and you adjust it for whatever you need to have it adjusted for. So you want to make sure they're actually a lawyer. You want to make sure you like them, meaning they shouldn't make you feel like you are dumb.
Right.
Some people think when they talk to service providers or experts, it's a good thing if they use big words and make them feel kind of small or like they don't understand it. No, they are typically doing something shady, and or they don't understand it enough themselves to parse it down to language that you understand. And If you don't understand something, just ask. And if they make you feel bad about asking, that's a problem as well.
Mm-hmm.
I recently had a potential client say, well, have you gotten any trademarks registered? That's a fair question. And it's something that's public. So I showed her how to search the database to see where I'm attorney of record and the registrations that have been issued and the registration numbers so that she can find out who the clients are. We also have reviews of clients who have been happy. And so we're happy to share those. And some of those are on our website. So finding out, are you happy with them? Do you get good vibes from them? Are they actually an attorney? Where else have they worked? If they've worked at a large law firm, like I have, Kirkland and Ellis, McDermott, Will and Emery, these are multinational law firms. They make sure that we're all registered. They do a intense background check on us. So you don't necessarily have to worry about doing one yourself. But past experience helps. If I've represented large businesses, that may make you feel more comfortable than someone who's never represented a large corporation. Maybe you want a lawyer who's had big company experience because you're going to be a big company. But your instincts are typically right about people. So don't be afraid to just say, I got bad vibes. Like, that's okay. You may not like the vibe of the firm and you can talk to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some great tips and information. I'm sure that a lot of business owners like me were not aware of a lot of those things. So are there any other last tidbits that you would want to share? Because our audience is primarily small businesses.
Yeah, I think people focus a lot on getting the LLC and the INC and not enough on getting their trademarks and their copyrights registered. So trademark is your business name. Your copyright protects your content. So if you're an author or you have articles or things of that nature, that will fall under copyright. But I would say your biggest asset is your name or your slogan or your logo, your tagline, those identifiers, because that's what brings the money into your business. You can get your trademark even before you file for an LLC. An individual can own a trademark. So there's nothing that should stop you from protecting those brand assets. As long as you're using that brand for business, you can have a federally registered trademark, which will protect that name in all 50 states in the United States.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. I'm going to put your website down below, but you want to go ahead and tell people how they can get in touch with you if they have questions?
Definitely. They can go to mobilegeneralcounsel.com. And my email is just ashleyk@mobilegeneralcounsel.com. And if you forget that and you remember my name, Ashley Nicole Kirkwood, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com. And under the Connect with Us tab, you'll see a free trademark training that you can access. So there's definitely some resources for you all there, whether you want to just learn more for free or work with me as an attorney for your company.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ashley. It's been really helpful.
Thank you.